here we've got the Costa Vera Carmenere from the Central Valley in Chile. So this is another Indomitor wine, but
Another
this is the
Indomitor
Costa
wine.
Vera.
Absolutely, Indomitor, fantastic Chilean wine producer who basically stock all of our Chilean wines. Super state of the art, really eco-conscious. They've got this community program where they only employ from the local community, which sounds simple, but is actually just super rare in the wine industry. You know, the wine industry tends to import labour from abroad at cheap, and some of the practices aren't great. Indomitor, fantastic. Their winery looks amazing. Like, it's built into the mountain. It looks like something off of a Bond film. Fantastic. This is their Carmenere. Carmenere, strange old grape that we've not really heard of a huge amount. In order to sort of explain Carmenere, I've got to give you a history lesson.
Oh, here we go. Come on then. Come on. Hit us with it.
So when the Spanish went over to the New World in the sort of the early 1500s, the first thing they packed, you know, quicker than we would pack our underpants, was grape varieties. They brought vines over. They were swiftly followed by the French, and they quickly realized that the Chilean landscape was perfect for wine growing, the soil, climate, and that sort of thing. Now, when you're a Frenchman bringing grapes over to the New World, what you're going to do, you're going to, of course, go to Bordeaux, the capital of wine growing. And those varieties at the time were Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, and a little unknown variety called Carmenere. But Carmenere was a pain in the ass. A pain in the ass to grow. It was finicky. It didn't like changes in weather. It was really difficult, and it was falling out of fashion. So generally, what they did is they brought over the three favourites, Merlot, Cabernet, and Cabernet Franc. And in fact, even Cabernet Franc wasn't super popular. So it was very much Merlot and Cabernet, two grapes that we sort of associate with Chile now. Fast forward a few hundred years, we're talking 19th century, 20th century, and Chilean Merlot is booming. It's absolutely booming, and the Cabernet for sure, absolutely booming. The Chilean wine industry is growing at a rate of knots. The French have done their work. Chilean wine is fantastic, and particularly Chilean Merlot was given its own sort of title as Chilean Super Merlot because it was fruitier, it was spicier, it was more interesting than a standard French Merlot. Fast forward again to the 21st century, DNA testing comes in, we start testing our grape varieties for their history, and we find out Chilean Super Merlot, not Merlot at all, Carmenere. By that time, Carmenere had become extinct in France. We had phylloxera in the 1800s, a little mite that came over from America, destroyed European grapevines and wiped off a lot of grape varieties. The Carmenere was non-existent in France, but had flourished in Chile and made the Super Merlot.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a lot going on to it. That's what I mean. I think that's why the Super Merlot came into it. It's got that kind of like, I don't know. It's hard to explain. Like I say, we're not one for pushing tasting notes on people, but there is like a bit of a green pepper, kind of bell pepper kind of vibe in it. Yeah, great wine.
So yeah, it's got all the fruit. It's got that plummy nature. It's got red fruit. It's got dark fruit, just like Merlot has, but almost in like a sort of a dialed up thing. But the thing that separates Carmenere from Merlot is that green nature, green bell pepper, a spiciness, a sort of, I think it's the flavour of fajitas. That's the flavour that I get from Carmenere. The flavour of fajitas, you know, that sort of peppery spiciness that comes through when you chop up all those peppers and stick them in your fajita mix.
Yeah, I mean, put it in a NutriBullet, whacking a glass of Merlot in it, probably not the right thing in your head. But yeah, I get what you're feeling. That's got that vibe to it. So you're saying fajita, so Mexican.
This
that kind of vibe.
Carmenere. I mean, I love Carmenere. I actually think it's super easy drinking. That there's not too much tannin. You know, there's not too much grip on the gums. It's like Merlot in that fact that it is easy drinking. But for me, it's my go-to when I'm planning a bit of spice of the evening. So, you know, whether it be spag bowl, but I'm going to throw a bit more chili in than you perhaps would. Yeah. Whether it be fajitas, you know, anything like that, where you're adding a little bit of extra chili or pepper to your dinners. That's where I'm putting Carmenere.
I mean, and if you're thinking barbecued kind of anything, like I say, anything with a bit of spicing on there, paprika, that kind of thing, solid red for that occasion.
Absolutely, solid red. It's still an all-rounder as well. Let's not forget this is in the middle ground territory. We're not talking Shiraz or Cabernet or Malbec. It's not super heavy-bodied. It's in the middle territory. You pull this out at a party and, you know, pour it round and everyone's having a sip going, this is really great. They're going to be surprised to hear that it's Carmenere and not something middle of the road like a a Merlot or a Tempranillo. It's a great all-rounder in that sense, from a fantastic winery when it comes to sustainability and practice, and great value for money.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Like, could be one of my new favourites.
Cheers.
Cheers.